It was a dare that we couldn't resist. My friend and I had heard about the Korean elevator ritual, and we were both skeptical of its supernatural powers. There is a cheap hotel with 10 floors in the next town over. We had to try it out. The hotel was old and run down, with broken windows and peeling wallpaper. There was no hotel staff in sight. The place felt unsettling. It was the perfect setting for a horror movie. We were both a little on edge as we were following the signs for the elevator. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as we stepped into the elevator. We followed the steps of the ritual, first heading up to the 4th floor, down to the 2nd floor, up to the 6th, back down to the 2nd, up to the 10th, and down to the 5th floor. Doing this in the correct order, we then pressed the 1st floor button, but started ascending. As we ascended, the atmosphere in the elevator changed. The air grew thick and oppressive, and the lights flickered ominously. Suddenly, the elevator stopped. My friend and I exchanged nervous glances, unsure of what to do next. That's when we heard it. A low guttural growl came from somewhere outside the elevator. We both froze, our eyes wide with terror. We could feel the presence of something malevolent, something beyond our understanding. The doors to the elevator slowly creaked open, revealing a dark, foreboding hallway. The air was thick with a musty scent, and the walls were covered in peeling wallpaper and cobwebs. We cautiously stepped out of the elevator, our eyes scanning the hallway for any sign of danger. As we walked down the hallway, we could hear the sound of our footsteps echoing through the empty corridors. It was eerie and unsettling, and we were both on high alert. Suddenly, we heard a loud crash coming from one of the rooms. We both froze, unsure of what to do next, but then my friend started walking towards the source of the sound. "We have to check it out," he said, his voice trembling. I hesitated for a moment, but then I followed him. As we approached the room, we could hear the sound of something moving inside. My friend slowly pushed the door open, revealing a room that was in complete disarray. Furniture was overturned, and there were claw marks on the walls. That's when we saw it. A dark figure hunched in the corner of the room with glowing red eyes. We both screamed and ran back towards the elevator, our hearts pounding in our chests. As we stepped back into the elevator and pressed the buttons to return to reality, we could still feel the malevolent presence following us. When the doors finally opened, we both stumbled out of the elevator, panting and gasping for air. We never spoke of the experience again, but the memory of that night stayed with us, haunting us forever. I must warn you that the Bloody Mary ritual shouldn't be taken lightly. It's a dangerous game that can summon an evil spirit into your world, and I'm not sure I want to relive my experience. But I need to tell anyone who will listen. This is what happened to me when I was a teenager. It was a dark and stormy night, and I was home alone with nothing to do. My friends had all gone out to a party, but I wasn't in the mood for drinking. Instead, I decided to try the Bloody Mary ritual, something I'd heard about from my older sister. I went to my bathroom with a candle and match. I stared at myself in the mirror before flipping the light switch. I lit the candle and continued staring at my reflection in the mirror. I took a deep breath and whispered, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary." At first, nothing happened, and I started to feel silly, but then I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. I turned my head to look, but there was nothing there. When I turned back to the mirror, I saw her, Bloody Mary, standing right behind me. I could feel her cold breath on my neck. I tried to run, but I froze in place. She spoke to me in a voice that sounded like it came from the depths of hell. "Why have you summoned me, mortal?" she asked. I couldn't answer back. I was too scared. "You should know better than to play with forces you don't understand," she said, and she disappeared. But the horror didn't end there. As I tried to leave the bathroom, I found the door was stuck. I tried to force it open, but it wouldn't budge. That's when I heard the laughter. It was a cruel, mocking laughter that seemed to be coming from all around me. And then the lights flickered, and I saw Bloody Mary again, this time in the mirror. She was grinning at me, her eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. The cabinets were aggressively opening and closing. I started to cry and scream for help, but I knew I was alone. I don't remember how long I was in that bathroom, but it felt like an eternity. When I finally managed to break free, I ran out of the house and never looked back. I can still feel her presence sometimes, even after all these years. So if you're thinking about trying the Bloody Mary ritual, I urge you to think again. You never know what kind of horrors you might unleash. It all began as a joke between my friends and me, but now I'm regretting what I've started. We like to talk about and perform rituals we find online. One we are interested in is the Midnight Game ritual. My family is taking a trip out of state this weekend, which would be the perfect time to perform the Midnight Game. I walked through my house and turned off all the lights, trying to stay as quiet as possible. I can hear the creaking of the floorboards beneath my feet, and every shadow seems to be moving. I try to remind myself that it's just my imagination, but I can't shake the feeling of being watched. I realize I'm alone in my house, with all the lights off and a single candle. I take a deep breath and take my lighter to the candle. I hold the piece of paper and write my name on it. I then prick my finger and let a drop of blood fall on the paper, watching it soak in. I feel a sharp pain in my finger and wince. I find the door where I'm supposed to place the paper with my name on it. I knocked on the door 22 times, and on the last knock, the clock strikes midnight precisely. The game begins, opening the door, blowing out my candle, then closing the door. I relight the candle and whisper, "I am now playing the Midnight Game." As soon as I finish speaking, I hear a faint tapping on the window. I freeze, my heart pounding in my chest. I try to convince myself that it's just a tree branch or the wind, but the tapping continues. I try to stay calm and remember the rules of the game. I must keep moving, or else the Midnight Man will catch me. I start walking through the dark house again, trying to stay quiet and avoid getting caught. But it's getting harder to focus. I feel like something is breathing down my neck, and every time I turn around, I see a shadow moving in the corner of my eye. I'm beginning to hear whispers and laughter, but there's no one else in the house. I keep moving, but my steps are becoming heavier and slower. I feel like I'm wading through water, and the air is thick and suffocating. The candle flickers and threatens to go out, but I can't find the strength to relight it. Suddenly, I hear a loud banging on the door. I jump and scream, but I don't stop moving. I know I have to keep going or else it's game over. But the banging continues, getting louder and more insistent. I feel like I'm running out of time. I stumble and fall and the candle goes out. I try to reach for the salt in my pocket, but I feel almost paralyzed. I'm in complete darkness, and I can hear the Midnight Man's footsteps getting closer. I close my eyes and pray for it to be over, but the footsteps stop and there's silence. I open my eyes and see the candle has relit itself. I let out a shaky breath. I've survived the Midnight Game. But the sense of dread and fear lingers long after the game is over. I can't shake the feeling that something is still watching me, and I'm not sure if I'll ever feel safe in my home again.